Welcome back to the Square. It's been nearly a week since the Supreme Court of Nigeria ruled that both the old 200, 500 and 1,000 old naira notes, as well as the new ones, should be used concurrently alongside each other as far as transactions are concerned in the country. At best, the implementation has been checkered, and that's why we are on the Square today to discuss that. We went to town, and here's a report we found. Take a look at it quickly.
States in Nigeria had brought the old cash case to the Supreme Court, arguing that most Nigerians were stuck with the old notes and needed more time beyond the February 10 date when the bills ceased to be legal tender in a botched move to replace them with newer ones. According to Justice Emmanuel Ajim, no adequate notice was given to Nigerians before the withdrawal of existing banknotes and the reintroduction of the new notes. He said this reading a judgment from a panel of 7 judges. The directive to stop the circulation of the old notes is hereby declared invalid. The old banknotes shall continue to circulate alongside the new ones until 31st of December 2023.
Yesterday I spent 1,000. They collect them for one Food Nation supermarket. I spent 2,000, almost 2,000 for they collect. So my mother said that I should be collecting.
I'm so provoked. In fact, at the verse, because of this old money, you people take us poor people like slaves, and now they bring you people up. See this rice what they sell now. Now this money they make you people they rise up, but now you people turn us like slaves. It's not good though. God is watching you people. We didn't need old money. Buhari told us that not only 200 naira we should be using, but now. Why is the reason why they bring the 1,000 naira and the 500 naira? After we destroy, we burn the whole money.
President Muhammadu Buhari's government has defended the central bank's plan to withdraw old 1,000, 500 and 200 naira bills to make way for new notes, saying it will curb money laundering and kidnappings for ransom and offer greater transparency in financial transactions. However, the new banknotes have been in short supply, which has caused chaotic scenes at banks and added to the already boiling frustrations of Nigerians owing to high inflation and fuel shortages.
Now, you can watch the full report on our YouTube right now, but let's have a conversation on the back of this. Mayokun is an economist and political analyst based here in Lagos. Mayokun, like I said before, the implementation since the Supreme Court ruling has been very checkered. It's caused another bout of confusion among the public and even bankers. Why do you think this confusion still exists?
Well, thank you for having me. I think at the root of this problem is the fact that both the presidency and by extension the central bank has not been up to the task of being responsible. In other climes, once the Supreme Court has ruled on any item brought before it, everybody, institution, ministry, departments, and agencies, individuals must toe the line of the law. That is how you know countries that are, under the rule of law. Nigeria has claimed it belongs in that category, but it's a bit disappointing, I must say, that it is both the presidency and the central bank that are now at loggerheads. If maybe there's a tacit acceptance of that rule of law, but it's causing a confusion because the banks on one hand are waiting for the CBN because they are beholden to the CBN for their operations to just give them the green light. Although we have some good news from some banks yesterday that they have gone ahead on their own to start accepting and giving out the old notes that they still have in their custody.
But again, shouldn't we have heard from the CBN by now? Because that it would seem that if we do not hear from the CBN, some of the banks will continue to reject the old naira notes unless you have as they have said, you have a CBN form indicating that you're bringing in old naira notes. So where does that leave the ruling that should have brought reprieve to the Nigerian people?
Well, I think the simple answer to that is that the CBN under the current leadership has become politicized. I was checking his Wikipedia page, that of Mr. Godwin Emefiele, the current CBN governor, a while back, and what I saw is a politician and a governor of central bank. That is not a good CV on Wikipedia for anybody looking at it, because that word politician is not an accolade. It is an allusion to the fact that he became political by choosing to become a card-carrying member of a political party, trying to run for the presidency under the auspices of that same party, while still holding on to his position as CBN governor. So some people will see that his actions since then have become tainted, because some people felt he was being vindictive, going into uncharted territories and places where he shouldn't ordinarily go to, given his call of duty. But maybe because he lost, maybe because he decided to be partisan in an era where he shouldn't be. He decided to be vindictive of some other people, and probably lost his way.
Very well, but help me out
once
here.
you have found yourself in that area, redemption becomes difficult.
Well, help me out here with some knowledge. Since the CBN is an agency of the land, and the Supreme Court, which is also the apex court of the land, has ruled, I would think that it would affect the CBN, which means that the banks should not have any confusion applying the Supreme Court's ruling, and even small businesses should not be afraid of taking the old naira notes. Should that be the case?
Well, you wouldn't blame the small business owners. You wouldn't even blame the banks if they are a bit tongue-in-cheek when they are operating the Supreme Court rulings, because the value chain that is monetary policies, of which the CBN sits at top, it's delicate. For all the functions of money as a measure of value, as a proof of funds and stuff like that, it is CBN that determines a lot of that, because they are the bank that issue the currency, the legal tender that we use in the country. So it's most irresponsible, if I'm permitted to use that term, for the CBN not to have issued a statement aligning itself with the ruling of the Supreme Court. Even if you look at the address that the president gave, he said, I acknowledge that this case is in court. But pending that time, I will allow the 200 naira to be used. But the president himself acknowledged that the case was in court. And the moment the Supreme Court rules on an issue like this, everybody has to align. But this is not the first time the federal government is disobeying the courts. And it doesn't portend a good omen for our democracy. Is it Martin Niemöller of Germany, one of the prisoners that suffered during the Second World War? He said first they came for the socialists. I didn't speak because I'm not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists. Then I didn't speak. They came for the Jews. I didn't speak because I'm not one of them. But eventually when they came for me, there was nobody left to speak for me. So these are the issues that when we begin to we begin to pander to the president or the presidency on the things that they know, and we know that are inimical to the rule of law, we should be able to tell them to their face that, sir, what you are doing is wrong, and it's not a good thing for the deepening of our democracy. This should be told to the
Mayokun, just for the public, give me a quick sentence answer on this one. Could people get into trouble, like businesses, small businesses here and there, who are afraid to accept the old naira notes? Could they get into trouble if they do accept these old naira notes?
No, on the face of it, nobody is getting into any trouble at this stage. The issue is gone past both the president and the CBN, because as it were, this is the last quarter of the president being in office. Is more or less a lame duck. So people they have already started spending the money. The worst thing that can happen is for maybe CBN to try to sanction some banks on the basis of some things they have done earlier. They can't do anything after the Supreme Court has ruled. And if you have issues with whatever prank the CBN may be trying to play, you go to court. The court is always the last arbiter for everybody that is drawn to. But as it's were now, people should feel free to spend their money.
I see. But we also see that
even if you go to the new banks, it might still be the old notes that they will dispense to you.
We also see that the queues at the ATMs and at the banking halls are back. And we recall that the CBN was reported to have said that it had destroyed the old naira notes, if you recall, in February when the first interim ruling came out. Could that be a reason? Is it even possible that we have a short supply of the old notes as well?
Well, the best person to answer that will be Godwin Emefiele and his deputy governors. But what I can say is that if you act ultra-biased, if you act in against the law or against the ruling of the court, you are setting yourself up to be jailed. So if he had actually destroyed the notes before the judgment that came at the time, he might have a lacuna, he might have an excuse that, okay, before. But if they said stay action and you went ahead and destroyed because you felt that the president was behind your back, anybody tomorrow can take him to court and they will win him down.
Mayokun, we'll leave it here for now. I know it was real quick, but thank you for your company.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.